Hey everyone, and welcome to a coffee catch up. Now, Jono has no idea what's going on, but I have just hijacked his coffee catch up. Nimesh, can we bring in Jono, please? Because he's probably wondering what is going on.
I'm supposed to start this
Jono. See, the thing is, every single day this lockdown was not supposed to go on this long. Every single day you have come in, you've interviewed us all. So now it's your turn in the hot seat. So you can see by his face, Jono had no idea this was happening, right? From my side, this was last minute too. Nimesh, are you able to swap sides with us so that I go in the host seat and Jono comes into the interviewee seat? Is that possible? Is that possible?
You might not be able to.
But today we are turning the tables. There we go. Literally, as I said, turning the tables. And I'm going to interview you, Jono, because you've been the one asking all the questions to all of us as guests. But I think now it's time we found out about you, who Jono is, and you know what is investing in everything to you. So you've done a lot of solo casts, you've done a lot of interviews. I'm going to start. This is going to be an interview like we've never done before, Jono. I'm going to ask you the hard questions, okay?
I'm intrigued.
You look scared.
You know what's funny is about 10 minutes ago, or maybe 15 minutes ago, like, Jono, I'll join you, because I had a few things I was going to talk about. I was like, oh, great. I was like, okay, well, these are the things that we're going to discuss. And you're like, yeah, sweet. Like, you really brushed it off. Like, and I'm like, he's real casual about this today, but all right, let's do this.
Cool. So question number one. In the last couple of years, you purchased into Wealth Mentor, and then you became managing director, and now you're sole owner. First question, what was it that inspired you or sparked your interest or made you want to buy into the company in the first place?
For me, it was always about trying to continually grow. It was never the plan going along. My plan was always to create freedom for me and my family. Went through and got that, and then just do mentorships, and was enjoying that and working with different students. And then for me, it was like, all right, well, what next? What could I do next? And that's when I approached the directors at the time and said, I'm really keen to keep growing, and what's next? And it was like, well, why don't you come on get yourself a bit of skin in the game with the business? And it kind of eventuated, and then I guess it just kept evolving into the stage where now it's just me. It's quite a crazy journey, that's for sure.
Not just a crazy journey, right? Because you came on board right when the entire bloody world changed.
Yeah.
So do you want to share your experience, because you've been self-employed within the tennis coaching business before, but let alone steering a company with all its thousands of students and customers and staff and contractors and all this sort of thing. Quite a different beast from running your own coaching, but then steering it through a global pandemic, a complete change in the way this business operates. So how is that journey? What have been the biggest highlights? Well, highlights, lowlights, what's happened in your brain as we've gone through that?
Yeah, I think the first thing I want to put out there and being completely transparent is it was fucking hard. And there was tough moments that I personally had to deal with going through that, and there was struggles, but I think the whole thing around it was going back to the fundamentals of what I believe in terms of my own life and businesses, surrounding myself with the right people. And part of that as well is developing as an individual, is getting rid of people that potentially are not good for you, and really focusing on those people that are good for you and your business and the community. So I think that was a massive shift that I had to make, and so it was, like I said, it wasn't easy. We we had a business that literally would be traveling around New Zealand, Australia, providing education to hundreds of people in a room, to all of a sudden a pandemic where we just went boom, lockdown. We had an event going on that weekend that we hit lockdown. We had to fly all our team back from Melbourne. It literally just shut us off, and it was patient at first, trying to, I guess, see it out, because we didn't really know, and we thought, this surely can't last that long, and then it just kept going, and then okay, now we need to start to continually pivot. We need to continually work on ways that we can grow, or we can diversify the business, and we've got some amazing clients and students out there, and we just wanted to bring this whole network together. And I think that was one of the massive things through this whole thing, is being able to see the amazing network that we've got and the group of people around us, students, mentors, staff, contractors. Everybody is just an amazing group of people that all came together, and we really are starting to come out of that and seeing some pretty cool changes.
Perfect, cool. So what would you say?
I'm not sure I like that bottom thirds though, Nims.
I just noticed they changed. That's epic. Oh, good work, good work. So to put this in perspective, this was an idea I had a couple of days ago. I briefly mentioned it to Natalia, and it was only just when you're like, oh, what should I talk about today? But I even thought about this. Literally, as the countdown was going down, I ran into Nimesh's office to tell him to flip it all and to mute you and everything. So well done. Again, and this probably comes down to team, right? Team being able to be able to respond, act quickly, pivot, that side of things. And we'll get to the pivot side, because that's our joke. We now have that Ross moment with the couch. Pivot. almost weekly going on our WhatsApp group, but keeping with the whole point of these coffee catch-ups, which is sort of the growth, the investment side, the financial, the wealth side. For you, what's the biggest difference between investing in a business or investing in a company, well, business, right, and investing in property?
I think when you look at business compared to property, there's the element of, they have their own uniqueness within each one. Like I look at buy and hold compared to trading, just for example, and you've got a passive versus an active strategy. And when I first invested, I was very active, was all trading, and you're in there, you're constantly having to find the next deal, constantly having to deal with with the renovations, and it's ongoing. Whereas the buy and hold portfolio kind of looks after itself. I think the whole concept for me of investing in a business was that I can bring my spin on things and my way of doing business, and hopefully grow the company to a stage where eventually I can start to step away a little bit and start to have it as a passive. But I think when you take a business on, and especially when you take a business on that's had to go through a global pandemic, and I'm not trying to say that we're the only ones, because I know that it's hurt a lot of companies, and many companies had to adjust in the way that they did things. I think the great thing is that you can build up a business that influences or touches so many people's lives at the same time, have so many great people around you that are growing at the same time. I think that part of business I really enjoy. Is I'm all about people. Hence, when I have to do a coffee catch up on my own, I feel lonely. So thank you for having me on your show today.
Oh, it's great to have you here.
But really, I think at the end of the day, it's just so amazing to see the growth of so many different people and the evolution of a business as well. Whereas the property stuff kind of, I don't love property. I'm not like some people are massively passionate about property. I'm not like that.
I am.
Yeah. I love what property does, and I think that the knowledge of what property can do for an individual or family or a life, I think I love that part. But yeah, I think I enjoy the personal touch of things.
So if we break it down then, and knowing I sort of came in halfway through that journey. But essentially, you've seen the transformation through property that you've had for you and your family.
Yeah.
And now you just want to help as many other families to see that transformation and how property can change their lives as well.
I think that's a key element in everything we're about at Wealth Mentor, because you look at
no. You personally. We want to talk about you.
Yeah, true. Okay. Well, I guess that it's a key key thing for me. That concept of being able to help people is hugely rewarding, but at the same time, by helping other people, you can help yourself as well, growing. Obviously there's the financial side of things as well, which, don't get me wrong, is why you invest in business as well. So when those two things can go hand in hand, and the amount of people that you can influence, touch, you can grow on their lives by the world that we live in, even the coffee catch-ups, and hearing the amazing feedback from people and how they really have enjoyed the content and how it's really changed the way that they're thinking, and just those little things mean so much to me.
But why is that so important to you, and why is it so important that people are able to change their lives, transform their thinking, get in a better financial position?
Because everybody deserves it, and we not all. Everybody deserves it, and a lot of people don't realize that there's that opportunity out there. And it's not until you can actually see people transform their thought process, transform their lives, or transform how they go about their day to day, can you really appreciate, I guess, the fact that we haven't had the ability, or haven't had this in our everyday lives, the financial education. You see so many people in positions that they're just living day to day. They're just trading their time for money constantly. And there's a better way. There's a better way to live your life. I don't know if I'm quite getting there on that. But
I told you I was going to ask you the hard questions, right?
Yeah.
So we know all that, right? We know that there are a lot of people stuck in jobs. We know you used to be like that. You're not like that now. But why do you care about the people stuck in jobs? Why do you want to help them to create that freedom that property has given you? It'd be very easy just to have your time. I mean, you've essentially gone from having all your free time to now being full-time in a business, right? Which for some might say that's gone backwards, and we'll touch on the evolution of investing and everything in a second. But you've now given up your freedom to come into a job which is, you own the company and the business to transform other people's lives. But why would you do that? Why care about the other people?
I don't know, but it's massively in my personality. I'm constantly thinking about other people's reactions to things. Like, I will hear somebody say something horrible to somebody else, like walking down the road, and I'll be like, I'll start to think about how they feel about that. And it's the way that I am as a person. I think I'm very much in tune with how people feel. And if I have the ability to change the way that people feel, whether it's myself or whether it's the team that I influence or team that I work with, that there is just a hugely rewarding thing for me. And that there, I probably is rewarding. It's that there is more important to me than the financial side of things. It's
that is that key nugget that I was trying to get out of you, right? When we get started and we start off in especially property, because that's what we've always taught, right? The reward is financial. But then, and we talk about your why, and when you get started, your why usually is freedom, passive income, family, time. It's time-based. But when you've got that time, that whole why gets a whole lot harder. And so that is really what I was trying to drill down to and get out of you. So that's epic. Thanks. So again, I told you I was going to ask the hard, the deep, the personal ones about you. We talk about be, do, have, right? And you cannot simply have. You've got to become someone new. Become the person who can acquire or own or has earned the right from the universe to own these assets or whatever, right? So what would you say has been the biggest transformation, or what have you had to change, acquire, gain in your life in order to become who you are today, especially who you are managing this company today?
You're right. Good question. I think there's so many elements to that. It was really important for me to understand, I keep talking about my personality type and being very much in tune with, people's emotions and stuff. I think part of that was, part of the evolution of me into this role was actually being able to sometimes even be able to hold off or not turn it off, but, turn the tap down on that one. Because it's essentially about trying to make sure that you're getting, how do I put this? You're getting the ability to change or to make a huge impact. And that not necessarily doesn't have to be from always being the nice guy. But it also doesn't mean you have to be on the total opposite and be a complete dick. It's probably finding a tactful way to be able to deal with the different people that you have in your company, in your investing life. I think one of the things I've evolved a lot on is really starting to understand people as best I can and trying to adjust to them. I was having this discussion with Natalia a couple of weeks ago about how whenever I deal with any of the contractors, the mentors, the staff, is I'm really trying to be in tune with who they are as individuals. And I will have a very different conversation with two different people, giving them the same bit of information, because I need to make sure that I respond or I relate to them best as possible to get the best out of them. In turn, getting the best out of them gets the best for our community and makes the biggest impact. I think that was probably the most growth. It's also, I think the mental strength that's come from the resilience. I would, yeah. Yes.
We do often joke about the day that the wealth mentor story comes out, like the Netflix story and the Amazon story. And one day when we've got this vision of where we want to get wealth mentored to, and we joke about when that story comes out, everything that we went through and all that. So that's bloody epic.
And it's really interesting, even you bringing that up, because I was actually thinking about that last night, and I'll give you a bit of credit on this one. I've been really inspired by your running, and I've been doing a bit more running myself, and I was able to run last night, and I was literally thinking about all that sort of stuff last night. So it's quite interesting that this is happening today. It's
Well, this is actually why I do run. Because so I did my first ultra marathon in Bali, and what that taught me is that was 15 hours 47 minutes. 84 kilometers. I'd never run more than 20. I did 25 in training, but never more than 21 before that. And I wasn't a runner, but yeah, hey, epic opportunity, right? And what it told me is actually the mind will break down and tell you can't do it long before your body. And so I did the first ultra just to say I'd done it and for the epic story, but I kept them up because of the mindset, that resilience in the mind. And even today, I mean, I've done 4 ultras now, plus a marathon. And I've had people tell me, it's impossible. The body can't handle more than 3 marathons in the entire life. And it's like, well, I've now tripled that. there are people who've run way more than that. And it's like, actually, no, those are your restrictions, and it's just building that mental resilience. I'm part of doing a stupid challenge at the moment. 75 hard. Yeah. Doing the 75 hard challenge at the moment. I've done the 4x4x48 challenge, 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. Some crazy stuff, but yeah, business. And actually I do it so that I know when I get into business and I hit these issues, I'm like, you think this is annoying? You think this is painful? You wait until you're 70 kilometers into a run with nothing left in your tank, and you just come up a hill against like this. So I'm glad you're running. And I was actually thinking, and we are here with everybody too here, maybe in February, I'd have to check dates, but we actually have a really cool coastal run down the coast of the northern beaches, East Coast beaches in Auckland. And Natalia and I did it last year. I did it by myself this year, finished the run, and came into the office to play the real estate agent, if you remember. But I was like, hey, now that Jono's running, maybe you want to come in on that and get the 3 of us leaving. It leaves right outside my house, run to Devonport, and then we can come back and have a barbie.
Perfect. February it is. Better
11
keep running,
kilometers. 11 kilometers, so it's not too hard.
Sorry, how far?
11.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I can handle that.
Nice, easy. So everyone, you've heard it here first. But let's talk about that evolution of investing, because you had it, I had it, we've seen it with other mentors, we've seen it with clients. When they understand property, when they create their freedom, whatever, right? They always start looking for more, looking for bigger. What do you think's going on there?
I think, it's probably very much to start off with is the mindset around it. It's a growth of the mindset. You can teach someone something, but until they actually have mentally tapped into that concept or being able to achieve that, then they're never going to really be able to evolve through their investing. Prime examples would be when you see different students that come through, and for some of them, jumping into the standard buy and holds is the first step, and then they evolve into potentially your multi or potentially developments. Whereas you have some students come in and they've already made a bit of a mindset shift prior, and they may be going to slightly bigger deals. But that's only just in property. It's evolving as an investor into different areas as well, diversifying your portfolio as well. That comes from, I believe, knowledge. Is such a powerful element. I'm not a massive investor in shares, but I dabble. But I look at it and I look at what I'm doing. I'm like not exactly educated in the space. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm not getting the returns I probably should be, which is so silly, because I know that by the education that I got within property investment, what I was able to achieve there. So I think the evolution of an investor is very much about growing through all the different asset classes. It's about understanding that there's not just one way to invest. It's about understanding to where you want to get to and figuring out the best method to get there. And everybody's journey is going to be slightly different. And then I think, as well as that, it's growing as an investor, growing your knowledge. Don't be afraid to keep gaining more knowledge and keep growing. Whether it's in your niche, because things are constantly changing, or whether it's looking at other niches and just becoming that really well-rounded investor. I know that you're big on the whole, diversifying and looking at different ways and the future ways of investing. So I think it's important to just keep growing and keep looking to what next.
Yeah. So speaking of all the device, oh my God, you can see why I don't do this every day, right? It's not as easy as it looks. I thought you just jumped on here and talked bloody shit for half an hour. But speaking of diversification, That probably leads into really well the future of Wealth Mentor, not just the future of investing, but the future of Wealth Mentor. So you want to give us a heads up of where Wealth Mentor is going and what that might look like, what Wealth Mentor might look like this time next year?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's probably for a lot of people, the first little taster of it as well, because it's something, you've been a big part of it. We've been working really hard amongst the team and growing into different elements. So I think the future of Wealth Mentor is being able to provide to our clients different ways or different elements to grow as investors or individuals. It's an opportunity for us to bring in experts in many different fields, to grow experts in many different fields as well, to be able to provide a place where people can educate others or influence or impact, that really powerful concept of community. So, if you were to look at the future, it's very much going to be a place that you're going to want to jump on, a platform that you can go to where you can learn about all the different investment elements. You can read different articles, check out coffee catch-ups. You can check out, new concepts on investing, different people contributing to a place that really brings an amazing community together that impacts more people and provides people with many different resources and ability to keep growing and keep impacting. I think that's kind of touched on it. I mean, obviously you've been working pretty closely with it.
We will work over the next year to make sure you get that elevator pitch perfect. But I think
you've got a warning on the elevator pitch, and it's very much still in development. So hold the phone there, guys. It's going to be pretty epic what we've got coming, and it's going to be pretty
awesome. Absolutely. And it's all around this whole idea of making wealth accessible to all, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that there is our tagline. You probably can't quite see it on my shirt, but making wealth accessible to all is very much the tagline that we've adopted in the last probably 80 year or so. Really trying to see how we can, take wealth, the ability for anyone to create wealth, no matter what that wealth actually means to you, be able to create it, be able to achieve it through whatever means you choose to. I think that there is a huge opportunity, and like we talk about, make an even bigger impact on more people's lives.
Yeah. You call it a tagline, whereas I call it a promise. So we worked on this, right? I think it was when the first lockdown finished and we came back together and we had to figure out where we're going. And we said, hey, we have this whole new opportunity now. Where are we going? What is our promise? What is the reason for this company even existing? And we came up with that whole concept of making wealth accessible to all. Yeah. So that probably leads into a really obvious question.
Mm-hmm.
What does wealth mean to you?
Well, funny you should ask that. I think it's amazing because I ask this to everybody and I'm always conscious of it. Wealth to me has two elements. I think the first element is my family. It's, my family is very much the biggest driver and influence for me. I've got my daughters are just my absolute apple pie. I do everything to try and achieve the best future for them. My wife as well, amazing part of my life, and being able to spend time with them. But also a big part of that is my parents as well. They were such a massive influence on my life. The sacrifice, I talk about it when I introduce myself on either summits or masterclasses, the sacrifice that they made to be able to provide for them and be able to spend time with them, not necessarily provide for them, but being able to invest alongside them and things, that there is huge. It's the knowledge that I've got, the knowledge to be able to change people's lives around us. And then I think as well as that, wealth is, seeing the massive impact that we make on people's lives. That there is, that makes me feel wealthy, seeing amazing changes of people around us. Yeah, when you see the stories or hear the deals that our students are doing, and that there again, it's the satisfaction. It's the deep down satisfaction there is hugely important to me, and definitely a big part of what I see as wealth. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Well, we've hit time. So this was me hijacking coffee catch up with my amazing guest, Jono Frankel. Thank you so much for playing and rolling with it. And like I said, I wasn't going to hold back on those questions. So for everyone watching, I hope that's been able to give you a bit more insight into the man, the captain of the Wealth Mentorship, the managing director, Jono Frankel. Thank you all. And if you're loving this, please make sure you're liking the Facebook, all the socials. And of course, we do have the Monopoly Summit coming up. We'll drop the link down below. If you want to learn anything about how you create that passive income for yourself, for your family, how you're able to buy property after property after property that's going to give you that freedom that you deserve, then make sure you come along, and we'll be sharing with you how to do that and how some of our students have been able to do absolutely amazing things. Jono, once again, thank you very much. And as always,
stay awesome, everyone.
Cheers.